right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Scentiva, available in Clorox Scentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. It is always a treat whenever I get to speak with Jeffrey Lichtman. I would say he is absolutely loved by 80 to 90% of our audience. The other 10 to 20% of our audience can't stand him, but the one thing they all have in common is they can't stop listening whenever he is on the air. It's interesting. Jeffrey, in his day job, is a criminal defense attorney, rather seasoned criminal defense attorney, represented some of the biggest names in crime and has gotten quite a few acquittals, which is pretty rare given the magnitude of some of the people that he's represented. He is also the host of a terrific podcast called Beyond the Legal Limit. And so often people have said to me, does Jeffrey speak that way in his real job when he's lawyering? I have to tell you, I got a call from an attorney yesterday, and this lawyer was spoken to exactly the way that Jeffrey speaks about everybody that he's critical of on the radio. I am very, very pleased to welcome back the one and only Jeffrey Lichtman. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Frank, that was such a nice intro, and I'm glad that you heard about my day job and the way I handle annoying, stupid people. Same as I do on the radio.
And this is true. All right, let's get the important stuff out of the way first. Pete Alonso going to be a New York Met for 2 more years at least. This is exciting. Probably means he's going to break the franchise record for home runs. I'm pretty pumped about this. Now, obviously, knowing the Mets, he's probably going to hurt himself as he's re-signing this contract. But your thoughts on Pete Alonso staying in New York?
I think it was a fait accompli. I'm happy about it. I was a little disappointed that it took this long, and it was hard to listen to Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, sort of complaining. But he didn't blame Pete. He blamed his agent, and everybody blames Pete Alonso's agent, Scott Boras.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing. It allows the Mets it's the same team as last year, but significantly better. And he'll play first base, and that's where he belongs for the rest of his career, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, with Soto, I think it's significantly better.
Yeah. There's no question. I think their pitching is better. The problem is that they've gotten significantly better, but the Dodgers have gotten 10 times significantly better, and that's a big matzo ball hanging out there, Frank.
Who do you like in the Super Bowl this weekend?
Well, I hate both teams, so they both can't lose, sadly. It's tough for me. As a Giants fan, I hate the Eagles, so obviously I need them to lose, but I also hate the Chiefs, but I like Saquon Barkley because he was a former Giant. So I think all in all, I'd like the Chiefs to win, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Fair enough. I think you're speaking for a lot of people. All right. On the international front, obviously, you're one of the most outspoken defenders of Israel there is. President Trump made some pretty big news this week on this front. In the midst of an event with Benjamin Netanyahu, essentially President Trump, standing right next to Netanyahu, said the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and then basically said that they would redevelop it into a Riviera on the Middle East. This is interesting because not only is it being criticized by Democrats who generally criticize whatever Trump does, but there's been some criticism from many different factions of the Republican Party. You have Josh Hawley, who's generally considered kind of a non-interventionist. He is saying that he didn't think it's the best use of United States resources to spend a bunch of money in Gaza and would prefer that money to be sent in the United States. Then Lindsey Graham, who's more of a kind of a typical neoconservative, he said that most of the people in his state would probably not be excited about sending Americans to take over Gaza. What's your reaction to what President Trump said?
Well, he said all the right things. I mean, he finally pointed out what the whole world knows but refuses to say, that these are just degenerate savages that just refuse to ever live in peace. They've been offered 99% of what they had asked for by Bill Clinton. They rejected it. They start war after war with Israel. They then cry when Israel hits back. They have never agreed to allow Israel to live peacefully next to them. And when you have an enemy that attacks you is the way they did, I mean, massacring 1,200 people, raping, torturing, keeping 250 hostages, killing babies, they don't deserve to keep Gaza. They don't get to start wars and then when it's all over cry and have the world rebuild them just so that they can do it again to Israel. They should be pushed out of Gaza. They don't deserve it. And so Trump said all the things that we all know is right, but we don't want to admit because apparently we're not allowed to. It's double standard in the world. The problem is that I knew that Trump was bluffing, and of course it got walked back today. Now it's temporarily he's going to move the Palestinians out of Gaza, but they should be moved out. Look, 2 million Syrians left Syria during that civil war, and they littered all over Europe, causing mayhem and violence, as we all know, to all the places they ended up going to. Why all of a sudden can't the Palestinians leave as well? I mean, why are they so special that they get to say the place is completely destroyed because of their own actions? If you help rebuild it, they're just going to rebuild more tunnels and attack Israel again. What Trump should really do, instead of bluffing the way he did, and I knew it was BS, because if he was serious, Frank, wouldn't he have gone into Columbia University the last couple of weeks and started deporting some of these savage terror students that are threatening other students? Wouldn't he have arrested some of the Hamas protesters in the street outside the White House last night? He hasn't done any of that. So if he's not doing that, he's certainly not going to go into Gaza. He said the right things, and I appreciate it. What he really needs to do is let Israel do what they need to do in Gaza. Stop holding them back the way Biden did. Let them finish these people off. Stop feeding your enemy as you're in a war that they started. And I'm not saying you exterminate them, but there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser, just like Trump said when he was running for president. There has to be a decisive victory. You have to beat them until they surrender. Hamas has to be dispatched completely, and you're going to have a population there that is so brainwashed and so radicalized, they're not allowed to live with regular civilized people because they're too insane. They don't even regret what Hamas did on October 7th. They're still supporting them. You cannot live with people like that next to you. They should be moved out. Let Egypt take them. Let Jordan take them. That's where they came from anyway. I mean, remember, a few decades ago, Frank, Gaza was Egypt. The West Bank was Jordan. All of a sudden, they've got a new name. Now they're Palestinians. It's a whole new history. They don't deserve to be there because they've shown that they can't live peacefully with their neighbors. It's time to go. Ireland can take them. They seem to love them. Let the Netherlands have them. They love Muslim terrorists. Let them all have them. Let them go all over Europe. I don't care. But Israel should not be required to live next to an enemy that refuses to live peacefully by them.
How do you respond to critics, including Saudi Arabia, who argue that removing Palestinians from Gaza basically amounts to ethnic cleansing?
Listen, Saudi Arabia hates the Palestinians. Everybody in the Middle East hates them, but they know that if they don't say publicly that they support them, their population will turn on them and cut all their heads off, all the leaders' heads off. So they all pretend that they support the Palestinians, but they don't want to actually do anything for them. You didn't hear much support by Saudi Arabia during the war, and they certainly castigated Hamas after October 7th. When 2 million Syrians were forced out of Syria, did you hear about any complaints about ethnic cleansing, Frank? Did you hear about any of that? It's not ethnic cleansing. You start a war, it's time to leave. Simple as that. You're not allowed to keep your land when you start a war with a neighbor. The neighbor can do whatever they have to do to get peace, to defeat their enemy. Ethnic cleansing? There's so much ethnic cleansing, Frank, that their population has gone up, 50 times in the last 50 years? They're so clean that they keep on getting more of them. It doesn't make any sense. It's just another damnable Palestinian lie. I mean, look, Israel's an apartheid state, just happens to have 2 million Muslims, including members of the government, the military, the judiciary. How many Jews are in Gaza, Frank. I'll give you a hint. It's 0. So it's a complete canard. It's a complete lie. All of the Muslim nations that are talking positively about the Palestinians don't want a single one of them in there, because wherever they go there, if they're in Lebanon, they're killing people. If they're in Kuwait, they're killing people. If they're in Jordan, Black September. If they're in Egypt, they're killing people. Wherever they go, there is death that follows, because they are just a truly radicalized, insane population, and they need to be moved. Antarctica is nice. I can think of other places. Okay. Mars.
Point well taken. Point well taken.
They can't hurt anything. There's not that many Jews for them to massacre in those places.
So, look, as you said, they walked the statement back a little bit. But if there were to be a U.S.-backed government in Gaza and that government fails, would Israel have to step in and deal with an even more chaotic situation?
I don't think it's realistic that America is going to go into Gaza.
Right. So it's no point in even talking about this hypothetical scenario, because it's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. What they should do, though, is just give Israel the weapons, give them the international support, and instead of criticizing them when they dare fight back against these, Islamist savages, let them finish them off, wait for the white flag. When the white flag comes, then you decide what to do with what's left. But there's absolutely no reason. What other war has there been where the country that was attacked, that was massacred, has to feed the very people that killed, raped, tortured, and massacred them? It only happens with Israel. Stop feeding them. Stop feeding them. If they want to leave, they can leave. There's a nice ocean there. They can go into Egypt. They can go into Jordan. That's where they're all from. Jordan is 90% Palestinian, Frank. Why are they so afraid of the Palestinians? Oh, I forgot. Because they don't want to be massacred. There shouldn't be some rule that says they just get the world falling at their feet and they do nothing to show that they're human. They're scarcely human. I mean, even cockroaches learn that you can't, kill your neighbors. You have to live in peace. Palestinians haven't learned it yet.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Hey, let's talk about your expense report.
I didn't submit an expense report.
You will. Custom saddles and dog training services are not within policy.
What are you talking about?
SAP Concur uses advanced AI to audit and automatically detect out-of-policy expenses. It's the breakthrough I needed to focus more on our future.
These are my future expenses?
Yes, and self-defense classes are out of policy.
I'll need self-defense classes?
You will.
For what?
It's a big dog.
SAP Concur helps your business move forward faster. Learn more at concur.com.
Hey guys, finding the perfect gift for the food lover in your life is easy, thanks to Goldbelly. Goldbelly ships America's most iconic foods, straight from world-famous restaurants right to your door. So if you want to treat someone to Joe's Stone Crab from Miami, Franklin Barbecue from Texas, or desserts from famous foodies like Ina Garten or Martha Stewart, Goldbelly has you covered, with free shipping anywhere in the country. Just go to goldbelly.com and for a limited time, get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's promo code GIFT.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
On domestic matters, James O'Keefe, who I've been friendly with over the years, he was kind enough to mention me in 2 of his books and is probably best known for his work with Project Veritas, although he's not with Project Veritas. There was a federal criminal investigation into, I believe it was an election fraud case. I think you were his attorney on that case. From what I understand, the feds have dropped that criminal investigation. Tell me about that. What was the spark that led to an investigation, and what's the status of it now?
Well, it was actually the Ashley Biden diary.
Oh, yes, excuse me.
That was abandoned by Ashley
James,
Biden.
he's in a lot of controversies.
Yes, no. she left it in I think it was a rehab center, a crack house, wherever Ashley Biden goes to deal with her mental problems, her sex addiction, and her substance abuse problems. But somebody had taken the diary that was left there. They sold it to Project Veritas, and wouldn't you know, the feds get very upset about this. They smashed down his door about 3.5 years ago. They handcuffed him for hours. They took all of his cell phones. He was in his underwear. And they had a very aggressive criminal investigation for a few years. They ended up convicting the two people that took the diary. One of them went to jail for a few months. And James had this hanging over his head. I was his lawyer, am his lawyer. And finally today, I never thought that they would bring a case. And as I told the prosecutor, you're not going to bring a case because you're not going to win a case. You're just trying to scare the guy. You're trying to chill his behavior because this is an independent journalist who, frankly, isn't afraid of anybody. Well, wouldn't you know, today they dropped their investigation. A letter was filed online. I sent it to James, and we had a good laugh about it.
Congratulations to both of you, because I know, you know how difficult it is to get the feds, irrespective of who's president, to go into dropping cases. By the way, speaking of that, we've spoken before about the Eric Adams criminal investigation, and you seem to think there was some pretty substantial charges there, and he might have a tough time at trial. Tell me where you think that is right now, particularly in light of the rumors that President Trump's Justice Department may drop the case against Adams.
Well, it's pretty scary and sad. First of all, he's obviously wildly guilty. I mean, the guy has been a Turkish asset since he was Brooklyn borough president in 2014, and he's doing all sorts of favors for them in exchange for a number of things, including money and campaign donations. But what's kind of, horrifying for me to see is that his lawyer just comes out and says, look, here's the deal. Mayor Adams is willing to help President Trump with regard to, ICE coming in and taking out the illegal immigrants, but he's not doing it if he's under indictment. It's basically saying that it's going to be a transactional situation, and it's a quid pro quo, which is funny because that's exactly what Adams was indicted for, was a quid pro quo with Turkey, a Muslim terror state. And now his lawyer is saying, as long as the case is dismissed, Adams will help. I mean, look, Adams is a thug. He's a moron. This is a guy that welcomed in all the illegals. It was sanctuary city. That's what he said. When he's not fixing his jewelry in his ears and going to the club with his boys, he's letting in illegals and putting them in hotels and endangering the city. Now, all of a sudden, when he needs a favor because he's going to go to jail, all of a sudden he's anti-immigrant. Wouldn't you know it? He's a horribly dishonest, corrupt, crooked politician, exactly what New York City deserves, I suppose, because they keep on voting in garbage after garbage after garbage, and we get the results.
So you think they're going to drop the charges?
I think they're absolutely going to drop it, and it's going to be interesting that if the U.S. attorney that he wants, Trump, is not sworn in at the point when they decide to drop the case, I'm wondering if the interim U.S. attorney is going to quit in defiance for being forced to drop a case that they spent a massive amount of money on. And look, it's a good case. I mean, if you read it, despite what his lawyers say, just read the indictment. The guy is so wildly guilty. Now, I'm not saying that they're saying, well, it's political. It's political because he talked badly about Biden and bringing in all the illegals. This guy's been corrupt since 2014. I mean, Joe Biden was only 77, and now he's 105. This has been a long time of corruption. Mayor Adams has to go because if he gets the case dropped, Frank, he's going to continue, obviously, to run for re-election, and he's going to say, see, I told you I was innocent. And that's, to me, that's horrific.
No doubt about it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on what's happening locally because we do have a national audience, but there's another attorney running. The rumor is he may be running as a Republican now. His name's Jim Walden. He's been practicing law in New York for a long time, both as a prosecutor and in private practice. I'm sure you guys have crossed paths from time to time. I'm wondering what you can tell folks about Jim Walden and whether or not he'd be a good mayor.
He cross-examined me once, if you can believe, in a federal trial many, many years ago. What I'll say is I can't tell you if I know exactly what kind of lawyer he is. His firm does criminal defense work. They sue people. I know that he's representing his firm, one of the Alexander brothers, the brothers from Miami that are accused of all those rapes.
Oh, sure.
So I thought that was really interesting. I don't think that's come out publicly, but his firm is representing an accused serial rapist, and Jim has no problem taking that money, while, of course, passing moral judgment on everybody else.
You've represented some pretty bad guys, too, though, haven't you?
Not even a question, but I'm not running for mayor and saying that I'm the cleanest person in the world, and I'm a perfect man and I should be mayor. I think he'd be a horrible mayor, frankly, because I think that he's just too judgmental. I think we need somebody who's not a hypocrite, and I believe that he is.
Jeffrey Lichtman, we will end it there. I very much appreciate the time. I hope people check out Beyond the Legal Limit, a terrific podcast. And, Jeff, I do hope we can get you in studio sometime soon.
Thanks so much for having me, Frank.
All right, Jeffrey Lichtman, if you want to comment on any portion of our conversation, give me a call, 646-720-0635. That's 646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.